Hey friends, thank you so much for joining this live event. I haven't done one of these in a while. I'm so excited to have you guys here with me and in joining this live event. This is a New Year's challenge in how to become pain-free, and I'm so excited to have you guys here. I am just absolutely thrilled. There's light. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you guys here. It's my mission to help as many people become pain-free. But before we start, you can see that I'm sitting on the floor. I actually would invite you to sit in a chair. I'm sitting on the floor because we're going to do some things and I'm just all set up and ready to go. But I would invite you to just sit on the chair if you like, to be comfortable. We are going to be doing in this challenge many exercises. That's why it's a challenge to become pain-free. So in that point, you can come down on the floor and do those challenges with me. One of the things that I wanted to ask is that you guys please wait to the end to ask any kind of questions. And also, if you do have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. And I will be doing a little short Q&A towards the end. One of the other things that I wanted to mention is that in the show notes, as well as we will be putting in the comment section, a link for you guys to go to and begin accessing your own individualized pain-free journey. So please click on that link and find out how to get the solution to your own pain. Before we start, I want to remind you guys that when you guys comment on this for the live challenge, that if you comment every single day, you'll get a free gift from me. So please leave your comments in, or your questions or comments or anything in the comment section below. Tell me how you're feeling, if your pain is dropping, if you are feeling better, if you have any questions, or at the very least, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you're alive so that we know that you're enjoying this program or at least being on the other side of it. Before we start, I want to invite you guys to do a little self-test. So this is day one, and every single day I will be coming back and asking the same question. If you guys go to a doctor, normally the doctor will ask you a question such as, on a scale of 1 to 10, please tell me what kind of pain you're in right now. Tell me what pain you're currently experiencing at this moment. And so what I'd like you to do is put on a scale of 1 to 10 what kind of pain you are experiencing and where that pain is localized. So is it in your lower back? Is it in your hips? Is it in your knees? Is it in your shoulders? Maybe even in your wrist. But where it is, kind of isolate it and just give a scale 1 to 10. 1, of course, being like almost no pain or zero pain. And then 10, of course, being really chronic. Okay? So right now, if full disclosure, I have a little ache in my lower back. And honestly, it's, for the sake of this video, I'll say it's a 2. But really, sincerely, it's about a 0.5. So please share what that is in your body right now. Okay. One of the reasons for me doing this journey with you and wanting to support you in taking this journey is because after 25 years of practicing yoga, and when I say yoga, it's a big picture, but a big part of that was stretching, holding pigeon pose, sometimes referred to as the runner's stretch or the hurdler's stretch, for 5 minutes each side, doing deep forward folds, coming forward just over my crossed legs and coming into deep forward folds and holding that for a long period of time. Stretching was a big part of my practice, and why is a big topic. But one of the reasons why is because as soon as I started practicing yoga when I was 18 years old, I actually ended up really hurting myself. And the solution was to stretch. And so yoga teacher after yoga teacher I went to, they constantly told me the same story over and over. Aaron, you need to open your hips. You need to open your back. You need to stretch your hamstrings more. And I did. And I was very sincere in the practice. If you give me something to do and you tell me it's going to help and I believe you, I will do it. I'm not one of those people that sits on the sidelines and kind of hums and haws. I dive in like full way in. And I did that for 25 years. During that 25 years, I dealt with so much chronic pain. I would sometimes share it with some of my yoga students and they'd be like, Aaron, you're a yoga person. How is it possible that you're experiencing this much pain? And I would often say to them, I don't know. I mean, I'm stretching, I'm doing all the yoga things that I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm dealing with this chronic pain. And I would have students actually come to me in chronic pain. And my solution was always to stretch. And that took me to the emergency room of a hospital 25 years later. I was around 44, 45 at the time. And I ended up in the emergency room with an orthopedic surgeon telling me, Aaron, you might need a spinal fusion in your lower back. And I can tell you that that was a moment of reckoning. And so I'm not going to get into the rest of that story for the purpose of today, but what I want to kind of impress upon you guys today is this. Pain is telling you something about your body. Pain is the check engine light of our body saying to us, there's something wrong. And unfortunately, a lot in our culture, we look at pain as kind of a deterrence. It's something that weak people experience. No pain, no gain. And while there's a lot of really valid points to that saying, and I could make a really good case for it, when we're talking about the body, when we're talking about physiology, we need to pay attention to the pain. And no one in my whole journey ever said to me, Aaron, the pain is like telling you something is wrong. Well, what I also want to impress upon you guys today is pain is the byproduct of inflammation in the body. And inflammation is the byproduct of stress. In fact, in the muscle activation science that I study, we learn that trauma, stress, and overuse of muscles at a certain joint can cause a lot of inflammation. And so from our perspective, if we can start to get those muscles working at those joints, guess what happens? The joint is supported. When the joint is not supported, it experiences stress, right? So if we get the muscles working at that joint properly, then there's no more stress at that joint. There's no stress, no inflammation, no pain. And I find that really fascinating because in my own journey of, first of all, helping myself, first and foremost, but then helping thousands of other students, I see the stress cycle stop immediately. And that's why this works. It works so quickly for most people because once we start to get the muscles doing their job properly, the stress inflammation cycle stops right away. And for me, it completely like blows my mind. So if you like what I just said, give me a thumbs up in the comments and tell me what you think of that. One of the things that we need to remember, and this is really important for muscle activation, if you take something away from me today, other than what we're going to do next, then take away this point that the job of muscles is to move bones and stabilize joints. Now, we could come up with another laundry list of stuff. I know that there's other things that muscles do, but the primary job of muscles from a physiological, movement perspective is to move bones and stabilize joints. Now, how do muscles do that? Muscles do that by shortening. They need to shorten. A better word sometimes is contract. They need to contract. And from a muscle activation standpoint, a healthy muscle is a muscle that can contract and contract on demand. And from doing all of the stretching that I was doing, what does stretching inherently do? It not only lengthens a muscle passively, but we're also now lengthening a muscle beyond what its capacity is, beyond what it's capable of doing. And that disrupts the neuromuscular connection, this connection between brain and muscle, so that the muscle loses that ability to contract and contract on demand. Your body is an incredible mechanism, an organism, a machine that has this ability to move and stabilize your body through any different range of motion. But when that neuromuscular connection is compromised, you lose stability. My teacher, Greg, always says that you can have and cultivate as much flexibility as you want, but flexibility always leads to instability. And the reason why is because when you stretch, when you force a muscle to lengthen, that muscle loses its ability to contract and contract on demand. It loses its ability to stabilize the joints. And when that happens, you no longer have stability. So as going back to what Greg says, when you stretch, when you have flexibility, you do not have stability. And when you don't have stability, you're now open and vulnerable to injury. And I am the living proof of that. I ended up in the surgeon's office after opening my hips and stretching my back and stretching my hamstrings. And I didn't understand that what I was doing was creating instability. So each day during this challenge, I'm going to uncover a little bit more of this practice, why it works, of things you need to consider. One of the questions that you constantly ask me is, Yogi Aaron, how long is this going to last for? Because most of you just want to take a pill and have all your problems solved. And while this will solve a lot of your problems, I will answer that in another one of the days of the challenge. I will answer many of those kind of questions as we move forward and kind of uncover this. Each day, I want to do 3 main poses. And we're going to do, a better word is muscle activation practices. So we're going to do 3 muscle activation practices. We're going to do one for the back. We're going to do one for your hip flexors. And then we're going to do one for the hip flexors and trunk flexors. Why? Because I always get asked, what 3 poses should I do every single day of my life? And these are 3 of them. If you do nothing, do these 3. These 3 will help you. Also, one of them is for your back. And I always get asked, Yogi Aaron, if there's only one pose that I should do, what should I do? And it's the one that we're going to do for our back. And the reason for that is if you kind of think about how we walk through life and you look at people as we get older, they start to hunch over like this. And so their back muscles aren't working. If we want to stay young and vibrant, remember, youth is in the spine. We need to sit tall and lengthen the spine, but we can only do that if our back muscles are working properly. So we want to make sure that those back muscles are working properly. We're also going to do one for the hip flexors because the psoas, which is the major hip flexor, is responsible for holding the integrity of your lower back, holding the curve of the lumbar spine. And then, of course, we want to do one to get the core muscles activated because as we go through different ranges of motion, we need to have that stability. These muscles, again, need to contract properly. So that's where we're going to start, friends. Let's come on to our backs, and we're going to just dive in here. If you're enjoying this, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and let me know what you're thinking. Is this anything new that I'm saying for you? Does it make sense? And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. So come on to your back. The very first one is so easy to do. And I'm going to tell you something. There are times, yes, even with me, that I have a great neuromuscular connection, but I've had a history of stress, trauma, and overuse to my body. I have done things to my body. I did things to my body by the time I turned 25 that most people never do in their whole lifetime. So I've had a history of overuse. Just for those of you who don't know me well, I went to a school in Canada where I did dog sledding and snowshoeing. We used to do 50-mile snowshoe races in one day. So you kind of have a bit of a better understanding of some of my history. But there's days when I start to feel like my back doesn't have the integrity, the stability it should. What do? These first two things that we're going to do is exactly what I do to get that stability back. And it has nothing to do with stretching and everything to do with activating. So come onto your back, please. Bring your knees just above your hips. Bring your hands to your knees. Okay. Now, this is a really great way to activate the core. Where the heel of your hand should be, if you look at your kneecap, the patella here, you want the heel of your hand just right there. So bring the heel of your hands to that point and then press the knees into the hands. So again, I'll say that one more time. Well, I'll say it several times. Press knees to hands and then relax. And when you did that, you'll probably feel a lot of these muscles engage. What we're doing now is rebuilding that neuromuscular connection so that the central nervous system goes, oh, there's a muscle there. Bring the knees back up. Let's do it again. We do it 6 seconds or approximately 6 seconds, and we'll do it 6 times. And then let the feet come down, and then let the knees come back up. So press the knees into the hands. Now, if you have some awareness of your pubic bone, pull the pubic bone a little bit towards your navel, and then let the feet come back down. And then let's do it again. Bring the knees back up, press the knees into the hands, and then come back down. We'll do it a couple more times. Bring the knees back up. Press the knees into the hands. Yay! And then bring the feet back down. And then bring the knees back up and press the knees into the hands. 4, 5, 6, and then come back down. And we'll do it one more time. Bring the knees back up and then come back down. So what we're going to do now is activate the psoas. So what I'd like you to do is to cross your left ankle over your right knee. Okay? Now, you're going to bring, lying down, you're going to bring the right hand towards your left knee and then press the left knee into the hand. Where you want to put the heel of your hand, again, if you look at sort of the whole knee joint, and it's kind of where the tibula, epicondyle, medial condyle, and the medial condyle of the femur bone kind of meet. Press your hand there, or place your hand there, and then press the knee again into the hand. Now you're activating the left psoas. This is such a great muscle activation. And then relax. My friend Eric Steibel taught this to me, and I'll always thank him for it. Do it again. Press the knee into the hands. Sometimes I am feeling on my left side as I'm doing this for the muscle. You can feel it contracting, engaging. It kind of pops out a bit. Relax. And then press the knee into the hand again. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then relax. And then do it again. Press in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then relax. And do it again. Press in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax. And we'll do it one more time. Press in 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and relax. Bring the foot down. So why am I saying that this is one you should do every day? Because we all, everybody here, sorry, abuse our psoas. We abuse it by sitting for so long every day. Now, one of the comments that people often make is like, oh, I should stretch my psoas because it's tightened up. Well, the tightening is a protective mechanism. The thing that we want to do is get the psoas actually to start working properly. So by doing this muscle activation, we start to kickstart that neuromuscular connection between the brain and the muscle. Let's do the right side. Cross the right ankle over your left knee. Bring the left hand towards the right knee, and then bring the right knee to the hem. Holding 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax, and do it again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax, and do it again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax, and do it again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax, and one more time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Now what I'd like you guys to do is come and turn over onto your stomach. This is a pose that a lot of people don't like. I'm sorry. It's hard because so many of us have weak back muscles. That's okay. We're going to get stronger. So please remember that. Let's bring our forehead down, and then all you're going to do is lift your chest and your legs up as much as you can. Now, if some of you got back pain right now, maybe don't lift the legs up that much. Okay, so if this is really hard, even lifting an inch off the ground is going to start engaging your back muscles, and let the forehead come down and then come back up and hold for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back down. If you're not doing it already, bring the hands to your lower back, lift up, and feel your lower back muscles engaging here. That big muscle that kind of pops up, that's called the longissimus. Longissimus. And come on back down. And come on back up. And hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back down. And back up. And hold for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back down. And we'll do it one more time. Come on up. Come up as high as you can and feel those muscles engaging. And then come on back down. Very nice, friends. Please come onto your back. Today we're going to add in an extra pose as a bonus. This is a bridge pose. It's really about activating the glutes. So much pain in the body can be traced back to the glutes not working properly. So we want to make sure that those glute muscles are working. Now, again, if you have pain in your body at this moment, a lot of pain, maybe you have sciatica, you have a pinching of a nerve, don't push it here. One of the first axioms of the yama is less is more. In applied yoga anatomy and muscle activation, we learn to back off because all we're trying to do is rebuild the connection between the brain and the muscles so they start working properly. Let the arms come out to the sides. Now, just for the people who might be in pain, we'll just back off a little bit for the first couple of times. So what I'd like you to do is squeeze your glutes and then just lift up a little bit. Now, really squeeze them. Now, if you want to, take your hands to your glutes, just kind of feel them. Make sure that they're engaging, and then come on back down. Nice. You can see I'm shaking my glutes right now. It's important to relax them. Engage your glutes, and then come on up. And then come on down. Very good. Okay, make sure your feet are about hip distance if they're not already. Engage the glutes and now come on up. Now, if you want to, come up as high as you can or just come up to your own sort of end point because the last thing we want to do is cause stress in the lower back. Okay? So just do the best you can, but make sure those glutes are squeezing and then come on down. And then squeeze the glutes and come on up. Nice. Let the arms come out to the sides or just touch your glutes. Make sure that they're working. Hello, anybody home? And then come on back down. And then come on up. And then come on down. And then come on up. Last one. Make it a good one. Press down into the heels of your feet. Squeeze the glutes. Lift up a little higher. And then come on down. Yay! So I promised you guys that we would just keep this to 30 minutes, no more. Every day I'm going to go through and keep adding some more exercises. Tomorrow in day 2, we're going to get into twists and the importance of twists and how important they are to our range of motion, but also some of the biomechanics of twists, what actually needs to happen in twisting, and how come twists, when our rotator muscles aren't working properly, how that can lead to pain in so many other areas of the body. Please remember to go into the comment section below or into the show notes description, click on that link so that you can start to get access to your own pain-free journey. It's a free process. Please go check it out. And it's my New Year's gift to you guys, because again, the last thing I want for any of you is to have what happened to me, to end up in the hospital with a surgeon telling you, hey, we're going to need to do some sort of surgical intervention because the joints of your body are not being supported properly. That's the last thing I want to have happen to you guys. Make it your priority to take care of this vessel. It needs to serve you. You guys are going to be living a long time. And one of the things I always tell people is, no matter how lazy you feel in the day, no matter how many other things are going on, always take time for yourself, because here's the thing, your 80-year-old self, your 90-year-old self is thanking you for the time that you're taking to make sure that your neuromuscular system is working properly so that your muscles can support you and carry you through life. Namaste, friends. Have a super wonderful day. And I'm going to now stay online for our friends on Facebook. So you guys can feel free to ask me any questions that you want. So please feel free. I'm going to just look at the comment section below. I'm here. If you have any questions that you want to ask me, please let me know. And remember to leave a comment so that way you can get your free gift at the end of this series. Okay, Gwen, what is the modification if a student can't lift their chest in Superman? So this is a real question, Gwen, because as I was kind of mentioning a little bit earlier, not everybody can do these poses, but everybody can lift a little bit. That student that you said can't lift their chest, I bet you they can lift half an inch. And so, what I would invite you to do first, Gwen, is do the experiment yourself. Come onto your mat and see like what happens. Bring your hands to your lower back and then lift your legs and your chest a little bit off the ground. I mean, when I said a little bit, just like a half an inch, quarter of an inch, you're going to feel those muscles contracting. And what that's doing is it's stimulating the intrafusal muscle fibers, which then send a message to the nervous system in the form of gamma motor neuron coactivation. That starts to send this reinforce this feedback loop between the nervous system and the muscles. So you don't actually have to, lift a lot. Of course, part of lifting more is you start to add more of a strengthening component to it as well. But in my own case, when I've had my back blown out on me because of my disc herniation, um, I have to go back to square one. So I hope that helps. Just do a little bit, and then I would love to know what you think of that. So great question, Gwen. Thank you. And then Linda, after a 6 kilometer walk today, my psoas was killing me. Doing these 4 exercises reminded me how important it is to do daily. Linda, please, when you're doing your walks, like I went for a walk today as well. And when I woke up this morning, I was kind of feeling my body a little bit. Please remember these muscle activations before you go for a walk. It make a huge difference. And I would have loved to have done a range of motion. Um, what is it called? A range of motion. The word just slipped out of my head. But I would love to check you out and see what's going on with you. It'll be interesting. But definitely make sure you're doing your psoas, do your Superman, do your bridge pose, and do the 4 that we did today because it will make a huge difference. Kate, why do muscle activation every day, often when building muscle is suggested every other day? So, Kate, that's a really great question. Uh, Please keep in mind that this is muscle activation. This isn't weightlifting. This isn't exercise. Now, what we did may look like exercise. It's really not. All again, as I was saying earlier to Gwen, what we're trying to do is start to stimulate literally it's the intrafusal muscle fibers of the muscle. We're trying to stimulate that neuromuscular connection. And so we're reinforcing a feedback loop. So for example, Kate, if you want to start, activating your biceps, I mean, there's many things that we can do, but simply like just flexing your muscle and doing that 6 times, 6 seconds, 6 times every day, that's not necessarily exercise. You're just engaging the muscle. That's it. So it's not like bodybuilding. It is just muscle activation. What I sometimes do in my own program, there's some things that I tend to do more often every day. I do actually like to rotate my muscle activation because if I did everything every single day, I would be on that mat for an hour and a half. So I have to rotate what I'm doing. And there's some that kind of start to look very similar. And then if I keep doing too much of the same thing, that sometimes can also start to stress out a muscle. So it is good to rotate, depends on how much you do and how much you push it. But from a very basic standpoint, just remember that all we're doing is muscle activation, not like working out kind of idea. Linda asked, Aaron, I've had a lot of students tell me that they have bursitis happening. Any advice for them? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but bursitis is basically kind of an inflammation of the joint. And inflammation is what starts to diminish this neuromuscular connection between the brain and the muscle. Okay. So you've got a lot of If you've got inflammation going on, that's going to disrupt the communication. That's going to create more stress, which is more inflammation. And all of that is going to start shutting down muscles. So people that have any kind of inflammatory issues going on are obviously going to start dealing with joint problems. These muscle activations are really, really, really important. Please remember, Linda, the less is more kind of attitude, the paradigm, axiom, that the less is more axiom is so important because when we start to try and push too much, we can actually create more stress. And again, more stress is more inflammation. So we kind of want to back off a little bit and find that nice sweet place where we can actually start to stimulate the nerve endings to reconnect with the brain. Um, and Crystal, thank you for teaching about muscle deactivation. I look forward to becoming pain free. You're welcome. Have you ever considered doing a session on chair yoga? Chuck asked. Yeah, Chuck, I have. And actually, in the AMA certification program that I teach, there's a whole section on chair uh, yama where I kind of go into it a lot more in depth. So definitely, it is on my list. It's something that I actually want to expand, and I'm really excited to help a lot of people and um, explore that a lot more. So I don't see any more questions. I'm going to say good night, unless anybody else has any more questions. I don't think so. There's the live chat. Well, I will be checking in, you guys, and I will be happy to come back and just check and check out any answers. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night. And I'm really excited that we're doing this together and kickstarting this new year with commitment to live pain free. Because you guys all deserve to live your best pain free life, have confidence in your body, and be able to have trust in yourself. So, namaste and thank you so much. Have a super wonderful night, everybody.